this 9-kilo jackfruit. We ate half. At the beach, we snacked on a pineapple. For lunch, we had a banana and ice cream with date and peanut butter. For dinner, we ate sweet potato with salad and cashew dressing.
You look and sound like you're on the brink of death.
Hi everyone. I came across this little shorts video the other night by Brett Cooper, who has recently joined the Daily Wire. It always strikes me as odd that some people can be so insightful, thoughtful, logical in some areas, but then flat out clueless in others. When it comes to veganism, people on the right never fail to disappoint me.
Somebody else says, Emma Watson, 31, looking older than J.K. Rowling, 56.
Not cool at all!
Somebody else says, feminism, before and after. I don't agree with her politics. I like her as an actress. I love Harry Potter. But I mean, we can talk about the toxicity of leftism and progressive feminism without ripping into a woman's physical appearance.
But why defend Emma Watson but go after a vegan? Sometimes the most simple answer can be the correct one.
Like, dude, you need to eat a steak. I'll happily send you one. By the way, have you ever heard about Good Ranchers?
Sponsorships. In December of 2019, Chris Wilkes and Joe Rogan discussed the Game Changers documentary on his podcast. Yet come January 2020, he goes on the carnivore diet.
It's weird. I'll tell you one thing. I do not trust my butthole at all. When I feel a fart coming on, I'm like, oh, this could be a disaster. I've had rocketing diarrhea.
From meat? That's
from all meat, yeah.
From the looks of it, it appears that he did this not only to save face, but to keep his sponsorship.
ButcherBox, which is a great company that's one of the sponsors of my podcast.
You don't have to be a genius to figure this out, folks. Criticize veganism, plug in sponsorship, and it's payday. You get to virtue signal about supporting independent small companies, satisfy your taste buds, then laugh all the way to the bank. We all like to think it's just large corporations that are corrupt, yet small companies like Good Ranchers are part of the very same system. Due to clever marketing strategies, we all get duped into trusting some very vague and often false labels. You don't have to be a vegan to realize how horrible factory farming is. Yet statements like this are very misleading. We only sell American, high-quality meat in each of our meat subscriptions. Yet it is estimated that 99% of U.S. farmed animals are living in factory farms at present. And 50% of fish worldwide now come from fish farms. One reviewer even points out, on the webpage, they state, prime seafood. Our seafood is wild caught, cut and packaged at sea, green rated for sustainability. Well, that statement needs to have some small letters somewhere that I didn't catch up because this seafood has never seen the sea. The package came with 4 different products: salmon, snapper, trout, and shrimp. Of all 4 products, 2 of them specifically stated in the package that they are farm raised, the salmon and shrimp. The seafood box is not worth the $132.87 that I was charged due to the misleading and scarce information that the company gives the customer to base its decision. Another claim made by Good Ranchers is that our cattle are pasture-raised, and we use farms and ranchers that use innovative techniques to ensure all the meat you get from Good Ranchers is a cut above the rest. This, folks, is not cherry-picking or vegan propaganda. Local farmers and ranchers are growing wary and frustrated with these labels. Animals spend at least some portion of their lives on pasture or with access to a pasture not continually confined indoors to qualify as quote-unquote pasture-raised. For instance, most all cattle, even feedlot beef, are born on pasture and raised there at least until they're weaned. But few of us would consider feedlot beef quote-unquote pasture-raised. The USDA allows producers to use quote-unquote pasture-raised if they also define their practices, so the definition can vary from farm to farm and label to label. Additionally, the USDA does not verify the claim beyond reviewing some paperwork or require any third-party verification. When it comes to the production of pork, the USDA allows self-regulation. Pilot swine slaughter plants with self-inspection rules have almost twice as many violations for carcass, fecal, and digestive matter. Blech. The NSIS rules finalized in 2020 are now the focus of several federal lawsuits. Center for Food and Safety Food and Water Watch, and Humane Farming Association, consumer groups in one such lawsuit, secured this data last fall, and they amended court filings to include the information after a federal judge refused to grant the USDA's request to dismiss their case earlier this February. The evidence is clear. When trained federal inspectors are replaced with untrained plant employees operating on the faster inspection lines, food safety takes a back seat. The public cannot have confidence in a system that prioritizes industry profits over the public health. When meat is advertised as American, you should be very skeptical.
A concern I've had for a long time about the big four meat packers' dominance and control over beef processing capacity and cattle supply in this country. Packers are enjoying excessive profits while cattle producers and family farm and ranch operations like those in my home state of South Dakota struggle to stay in business. At the same time, consumers are left paying record high prices for beef, and most of the time, they aren't even sure where it's coming from because of the product of the USA labeling loophole, which is entirely another issue. But I remain very concerned with potential improper or anti-competitive activity in the beef sector, and I'm encouraged that this administration has prioritized oversight of this highly concentrated industry, and I'm wondering what your views are with respect to the FTC using its Section 6B authority to investigate these meatpacking companies.
Well, Senator, I certainly share your interest in this issue. I'd want to raise that with my colleagues in the Bureau of Competition who'd have more knowledge on that particular issue. But I just want to jump off something you said about Product of USA beef. You know, one of the things we did at the FTC last year is finalize a rule that prohibits mislabeling products made in USA when they're from overseas. But as you referenced, Senator, we know that when Americans are shopping for beef, it might say Product of USA on the label, but that cattle could have been born, raised, and slaughtered overseas. This isn't only bad for consumers, this is bad for the ranchers in your state and across the country who are being cheated by misleading labels. We stand ready to work with the USDA on this issue to protect all consumers from misleading Product of USA or Made in USA labels.
Currently, as of February 2020 through April 4th, the Federal Register is challenging the so-called Product of USA labeling claims. Industry associations regarding the origin of meat products bearing the Product of USA labeling claim, requesting that the meaning of the claim be publicly revised by the USDA. Additionally, in August 2021, bills were introduced in the House of Representatives and the Senate to require that cattle be born, raised, and slaughtered in the United States in order to bear the Product of USA labeling claim. To address the concern that the Product of USA labeling claim may not accurately reflect consumer understanding about the origin of FSIS regulated products, FSIS intends to initiate rulemaking after conducting a comprehensive review of the current voluntary Product of USA labeling claim. The web survey/experiment will address three primary research questions. 1. Do consumers notice the Product of USA labeling claim? Number 2. Do consumers understand the current Product of USA definition and other USDA labeling as it relates to country of origin? And 3. How much are consumers willing to pay for meat products bearing the quote-unquote Product of USA labeling claim for the current definition and potential revised definitions? Now, I know this is all kind of like dry, boring, and hard to understand, but let me sum it up for you in very simple and plain terms here. Meat producers such as ButcherBox or Good Ranchers operate on their own self-regulating terms. They use labels that are vague and false in order to win against their competitors. Labels are labels, then there is the truth.
That is one big pile of shit.